All right, so we're gonna do final part three on the goddess Nanshe, the Mesopotamian goddess Nanshe. Um, get that started here in a second. Did part one and part two yesterday, and for this last part, we're gonna delve into Nanshe's some mythology, surviving mythology on the goddess. Um, the composition Nanshe and the Birds deals with the connection between the eponymous goddess and the ewe bird, variously interpreted as maybe a goose, swan, a gull, a cormorant, or a pelican. We don't know for sure. Um, like one scholar refers to it as a goose in his edition of the text. That scholar is Neok Velduus, and points out that under identifying it as a cormorant, pelican, or gull is implausible, as the ewe bird is described in other sources as a grain eating bird which can raise its voice. Um, okay. Wolfgang Heimpel argues that it is possible that the term for the goose was kurgi, and you might refer to the swan instead. Um, Bend Bend Alster also supported this interpretation. Julia Asher Grieve notes that from a comparative perspective, it is important to point out that in contrast with swans and geese, cormorants rarely, if ever, appear as symbolic animals in any culture. Okay. Now, I know for a fact Nanshe is depicted with geese in some of her depictions. Um, the text begins with the encounter between Nanshe and the aforementioned bird. According to Wolfgang Heimpel, after hearing the calls of this animal and noticing its beauty, Nanshe adopted it. Subsequently, she descends to the earth, where she erects a temple dedicated to herself and places the bird from the earlier section at her feet as her symbol. This passage apparently indicates she was believed to be capable of bird like flight herself. While the rest of the composition is not fully preserved, the surviving passages indicate Nanshe gathers various birds in a single place, and the Anzu bird and the Anuna, in this context, um, the great gods of the pantheon declare fates for them. In the next section, it is a compilation of short statements about various birds. They provide information about the beliefs pertaining to the individual animals, as well as their behavior, diet, and calls. Okay. Some of their names are provided with folk etymologies. A number of them are not attested in any other known texts. The text ends with a praise formula addressed to Nanshe. Okay. As of 2004, Nanshe and the Birds was only known from 6 fragmentary tablets. 5 of them come from Nippur, whilst the 6th is unprovenanced. However, the figures around whom the plot revolves belong to the tradition of Lagash. It is presumed that the composition belonged to the curriculum of old Babylonian scribal schools. All right. So let's see. Other myths are the composition of the horse, the home of the fish is assumed to feature Nanshe, though her name only occurs in a restored passage. It is sometimes questioned if the restoration is correct, though Neok Velduus argues the composition shows a degree of similarity to Nanshe and the birds, and points out that a number of animal names and uncommon writings of well-attested ones are shared by both texts. Okay. Both of them, as well as texts such as Dumuzi's sheep, also called Dumuzid Inanna W. Despite the title, it focuses on plants. Okay. And Ninurta's fields constitute examples of so-called enumeration literature, Mesopotamian texts in which names from a single lexical category are listed following a specific formula. The plot focuses on a banquet to which a figure referred to as the Queen of the Fishermen, often interpreted as Nanshe, invites various fish. It seems like something she would go, a name that she would go by. So she invites various fish, presumed to be freshwater species. The final section instead focuses on listing animals which prey on individual fish. So that the Queen of the Fishermen might possibly be Nanshe. It sounds like something she would be called, although there's other deities, like other goddesses, that might fit that bill too. I would first think of Nanshe, probably. In the myth Enki and Ninhursag, Nanshe is one of the 8 deities created by Ninhursag to cure Enki's illness, which developed after he consumed a number of plants. Her responsibility in this text is curing the throat of this god. The remaining 7 deities are Abu. Now, who's Abu again? Poorly understood deity. Abu Ninsikila, or Maskilak. What's this deity's name? Ningaritid. Oh, Ningarita. Ninkasi, Azimua, Ninti, and Ensag, or Inzak. Okay, a lot of deities there. After Enki recovers from the issues ailing him, new roles are assigned to all of them, with Nanshe's destiny being to marry the god Nindara. According to Dina Katz, the deities present in this section of the narrative were not chosen based on any theological factors, but due to potential for reinterpreting their names through wordplay, which in Nanshe's case relies on the fact that Z, the second sign alternative writing of her name, Nazi, could be used to write the word throat. Okay. Nanshe also appears in Enki and the World Order, of course, where the U-bird standing next to her is apparently an object of the goddess Inanna's jealousy. Okay. She is mentioned in the latter goddess's complaint about not being assigned a specific position, unlike her divine peers. The domain assigned to Nanshe is the open sea, and the text also states that she was capable of saving people from drowning. Nanshe appears in the composition preserved on the Gudea cylinders. It is a hymn commemorating the reconstruction of Eninu, the temple complex of Ningirsu in Girsu, in the city of Girsu. Gudea asks her to reveal the meaning of a dream to him. After he offers bread to her, she reveals to him that his dream was an indication Ningirsu wants him to rebuild the temple Eninu, and that he will be supported in this endeavor by his personal god Ningizida, as well as Nisaba and Nindub. Nindub's a deity associated with exorcisms. In the Song of the Plowing Oxen, Nanshe acts as a dream interpreter and advises the anonymous king who serves as the narrative's protagonist. Okay, so that ends the article on Nanshe. Now, I want to go over the different texts too, like not just deities, but I'll go over texts as well. We'll go over all of that as well. So that's what I plan on doing with all of this. I plan on doing deity descriptions from deities from all over the ancient Near East, and then I also plan on doing mythological and like religious texts as well. Going over all of that and any other kinds of related like historical texts involving the deities. So I will wrap up this video, and I'll be back with more deity descriptions and I'll probably start doing some texts descriptions as well soon. So as always, thanks for watching. Feel free to leave any comments or add anything about the goddess Nanshe, any kind of thoughts or anything that you would like to add below. And I'll be back with another video soon.